Well, good morning. Welcome to this session of On Course. I'm Mr. McInnis, and I'm glad you all showed up today. And I want to take you through some good thoughts on college readiness, and especially on decision making. And we're going to ask the question today, are you on course? The book that we're using for this is called On Course, and if you would like one, we can get one for you if you're more interested in some of this stuff. But everything you need to know today is really up here. So we are talking today about decision making, and we're going to look at it kind of from a different angle. And I want to impress upon you today something that is very, very important, something that I've learned through the years, and I hope you take away with you, and that is this point right here, that ideas have consequences. Ideas have consequences. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that ideas influence behavior. That is, what you believe affects what you do. And so that is very important in this college setting. You need to come into this time of your life thinking the right way. And if you don't think the right way about certain things, then this is a great time to change those ways and start to think correctly about things. There is a cycle of success that, if you will allow it to happen, really can start to happen. So what happens in this cycle of success is, first of all, you kind of, first of all, we need to have some positive beliefs. And when we have those positive beliefs, they automatically lead us into effective behaviors right here. Those effective behaviors, if done over and over, will lead us to success, or I should say, successes. They will lead us to having success in different parts of our life and in our classes. And when that happens, a funny thing happens. I said it was a cycle. Well, that's exactly right. These successes that you have will then reinforce those positive beliefs that started the whole thing. And it's a really good cycle. You've heard of a vicious cycle. This is not. This is a beneficial, happy cycle that happens in our lives when we start to have those right beliefs. And so a lot of what we're talking about today is going to focus on that. Anybody know what those are? What kind of shoes are those? What?
Golf shoes.
Golf. You would think golf shoes. Anybody else? They're not. Tap shoes? No, they're not tap shoes.
Runners.
That's it. These are running shoes. You see those nails sticking out the bottom over there? Those are, this is what it looked like when Mr. Royce was a young man. So I've got a story for you from 1954. There is a man named Roger Bannister that on May 6, 1954, did something that no one had done before. Up until Roger Bannister's time, there was a firm belief that that no one could break the 4-minute mile. And Roger Bannister did it. And something happened. Let's watch him do it, and then we'll talk about what happened after that.
Introducing Hooked on Tuesday at Goldfish Grill. Try a 3-course Tuesday menu with your...
We'll let that pass, and then we'll get to our actual video.
On May the 6th, 1954, Roger Bannister, a 25-year-old medical student, shook the world by breaking what had seemed an insurmountable athletic barrier. At least that's what many experts claimed as Bannister, paced by 2 fellow graduates, set off to try to break the 4-minute mile. Over the years, the target had become an elusive obsession for all middle-distance runners. The nearest anyone had come to it was 4 minutes 1.3 seconds by the great Swedish athlete Gunnar Haag, and that was 9 years earlier. Christopher Chataway took over the pace after Chris Brasher had done his bit in the early stages. The weather at Oxford University's athletic track hadn't looked too promising. A cold wind was blowing just before the start. By the time Bannister had begun his final 300 yards, the wind had dropped. It was now make or break for the finishing line. Bannister had run the last lap in 59.4 seconds, and it was more than enough to give him the record. 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. No one had beaten the 4-minute barrier before. It was a great performance, and done in the days of cinder tracks, spikes and training bugs between studies. Guts and grit in true amateur spirit.
Guts and grit. So maybe more than a physical barrier, it was more of a mental barrier, right? Because everybody had thought, we can't do this. We can't get past this 4-minute mile marker. But then Roger Bannister did it. And what do you think happened after that?
Others did it.
Others did it, that's right. In fact, the record today is 3 minutes, 43 seconds. So that's a lot quicker. I mean, you know, and when you think about how fast that really is. But yeah, that's what happened. People started thinking differently, and it affected their behavior. Ideas have consequences. Ideas influence behavior. And it's the same thing with you sitting here in this class and in your other classes, and when you go out into the workplace as well. Now, a lot of people think that this is what college is all about. And true, we do need to learn the skills. If you are a nursing major, you need to know where to stick the needle, right? I hope. If you are an engineering major, I hope that you figure out how to build roads, because I don't want to fall, you know, in a hole as I'm driving. Whatever it may be, you know, there are certain skills that teachers have to learn to be able to convey what we're trying to get across. But this is not the whole picture when it comes to college. There's also something else, and we'll call the difference between the two ways of thinking soft skills and hard skills. And we want to do this. We want to develop the right combination. Those skills that we mentioned, like putting a needle in or learning how to build a road, those are called hard skills. Soft skills are something else. Let's look at hard skills. Here's a definition. This is the technical knowledge needed to perform in a particular occupation. So for instance, a mechanic must know his wrenches and their uses. It's very important. We have to know that stuff. But it's not enough. You can't just have hard skills and do well in life. You have to have soft skills too, which are intangible personal attributes needed in order to be successful in all areas of life. So what does that mean? I didn't give you an example because this is a little harder to nail down. I will give you some, but not yet. It's been said that having hard skills can get you hired. When you go to that job interview and you know your stuff, yeah, that's going to get you hired. But lacking soft skills can get you fired. That's happened many a time. There needs to be a good combination where the hard skills can't do something for you, the soft skills have to. Where the soft skills, you know, you can have all the soft skills in the world, and we'll talk about what those are. But if you can't do the job, then you can't do the job. So we've got to have both. It's got to be a combination. So what are we talking about here? What are soft skills? All right, so I did a poll at the beginning for some of y'all who were here about what you ate for breakfast. That was just a fun one. But I'm going to do a poll now, and I want everybody to get out your device. I know we all have our phones or whatever. Okay, that's all right. And you guys in the back can do it too. I'm going to go to I want to get out of here just for a second and go to another poll. And here it is, and let me make it big, and we'll toggle full screen. And you can either text your answer, and you want to text to 22333, and when you do that, you want to put in 254181, and then write your answer, what you think a soft skill would be. And then, or you can tweet it if you are into Twitter, and you can do @poll space 245181, and then put in your message there. Either way, we'll bring it up. So let's see what we get. What do you think are soft skills? Okay, that's good. Organizational skills. Everybody's working on it. Time management. You know what, let me change the way this looks so we can, sometimes this cloud thing gives us a little trouble of being able to figure this out. So, all right, time management, organizational skills, y'all working on it? Get it in there? So far, you're all right. Everybody's right. Another minute or two here to get it all in. Is it working? Has anybody pushed send or whatever and it's not gone? Oh, there's another one. Customer service, integrity. You're all on target. You know what you're talking about. Have you had soft skills? Have you had that word before show up in your okay, you're getting it. You're getting it. All right. Does anybody else want to do one before I go back to the PowerPoint?
But I'm talking the wrong number.
Okay. Sometimes these are things that we say, you know.
We're still working on my hard skills right now.
You can't learn these things in class. This is on the job type stuff. Willingness to, oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Determination. All these are wonderful. Y'all are hitting the nail on the head. All right, well, let's go back and talk some more. This gives some of them. When you think about soft and hard skills, I'll get back in the camera over here. When you think about soft and hard skills, soft skills really are, there's a bunch of them. Here are some, and you may have named some of these, but empathy, you know, have caring for others, coaching and mentoring, both being a mentor and having someone mentor you, personality development, motivation, negotiations, working with others, time management. I saw Marcia outside making herself a note in her planner, and I see it's got a bunch of highlighter in it. That's wonderful. That's great soft skills. Creativity, communication, all those are soft skills that we need. You can't get by without those things. So, our book, our on-course book here, actually goes through several soft skills, 8 of them to be exact, and that's what this book is. And over the next few sessions, we're going to have 4, 2 this semester and then 2 next semester. We're going to be tackling these soft skills that are in this book. So I titled this, Success or Struggle, You Choose. You can be a successful student or you can be a struggling student, and it's really all up to you. It's not up to anybody else, and that is, we're going to talk about that big time later on. So let's go through and talk about 8 different soft skills that if you master these, you will be a successful student. And it gives the other side too, what you don't want to do. So here's number 1, and we're going to come back to this one later. The first one is that successful students accept personal responsibility, seeing themselves as the primary cause of their outcomes and experiences. But struggling students, and you've all met these people, and I hope you're not one of these, or if you are, you're going to change, see themselves as victims, believing what happens to them is determined primarily by external forces such as fate, luck, and powerful others. We're going to talk a lot about that. This is our goal for the day. But another one, a second successful soft skill is discover self-motivation, finding purpose in their lives by discovering personally meaningful goals and dreams. Struggling students, on the other hand, have difficulty sustaining motivation, often feeling depressed, frustrated, and or resentful about a lack of direction in their lives. And we'll focus on that and some other things in our next one in October. But what motivates you? Is it from inside somewhere, or is it some other force that you're not really feeling? A third one is that successful students master self-management. Good job, Marcia. I'm sure the rest of you do that too. Consistently planning and taking purposeful actions in pursuit of their goals and dreams. But on the other hand, struggling students seldom identify specific actions needed to accomplish a desired outcome. And when they do, they tend to, that big word, we don't like that word, we all do it, don't we? Procrastinate, yeah. So self-management, have that calendar. A fourth, successful students employ interdependence, building mutually supportive relationships that help them achieve their goals and dreams while helping others do the same. But on the other hand, many students are solitary, seldom requesting and even rejecting offers of assistance from those who could help. This is the one where first day of class, you need to get somebody's phone number. You need to make contact if you haven't already. You can do that in a non-creepy way. You can say, where it doesn't seem like you're asking someone out on a date. But finding others who can help you and that you can help.
This is good stuff.
Number 5 is that successful students gain self-awareness, consciously employing behaviors, beliefs, and attitudes that keep them on course, whereas struggling students make important choices unconsciously, being directed by self-sabotaging habits and outdated life scripts. Listen, you're doing that today. You being here is gaining self-awareness. You are helping yourself right now by finding out where you're weak and thinking about where you can be stronger. That outdated life scripts, we'll get to this one, but have you ever met somebody who wants to be a physical therapist or a pharmacist, but they hate math and they hate science and chemistry? They made that life script when they were a young person and they thought, oh, that looks like fun. But then, now they're older, they find that their academic interest lies somewhere else, but they're still hanging on to that outdated life script. Our 6th one is successful students adopt lifelong learning, finding valuable lessons and wisdom in nearly every experience they have, rather than resisting learning new ideas and skills, viewing learning as fearful or boring rather than as mental play. I've been teaching for a long time and doing other things for a long time, and I'm still having to learn. There are people in here who are too, who it never ends. If you're going to be a success, you're going to have to embrace the idea that you're not just going to learn it and then it's done. You're going to learn it, and then you're going to learn a new way to do it, and then you're going to learn new developments in the field that you're in. And you're also going to see every experience in life as a way to learn and not just reject that. Our 7th one is that successful students develop emotional intelligence, effectively managing their emotions in support of their goals and dreams. Whereas struggling students live at the mercy of strong emotions such as anger, depression, anxiety, or a need for instant gratification. You don't have to be in college long to meet the person on the right. There are lots of people who are living by their emotions, whatever they may be, negative or positive, but you can't do that. You have to know yourself emotionally. And the last one, number 8, is that successful students believe in themselves, and they see themselves as capable, lovable, and unconditionally worthy human beings. Struggling students doubt their competence and personal value, feeling inadequate to create their desired outcomes and experiences. One of the biggest things that people do here on this side is self-comparison, and we'll talk more about that too, is looking at other people and saying, I'm not as good as them, and thinking that it immediately dooms you to struggle or to not have success. But we need to believe in ourselves that we can do this, and you can. You've made it this far. Why can't you go further? Why can't you do another day of college? Why can't you finish your degree? There's no reason at all, but you need to believe it. Beliefs have consequences. Ideas have consequences. All right, well, let's move on. I want you to remember what I just said. Ideas have consequences. That ideas influence behavior. Get this in your mind, okay? Think about it. Make it part of who you are. And that what you believe influences what you do. So you got to get your beliefs right before you get your doing right. Your behavior is not going to come out of, good behavior is not going to come out of bad thoughts and bad beliefs. So let's go back and delve into this one. This was our first one that we looked at. Successful students accept personal responsibility, seeing themselves as the primary cause of their outcomes and experiences, rather than seeing themselves as victims, that everything happens to them. What is personal responsibility? This is a great definition for it. The essence of personal responsibility is responding wisely to life's opportunities and challenges, rather than waiting passively for luck or other people to make the choices for us. So, responding. If I look at that and I think, okay, what's the word that I need to hone in on? It is responding. It's not just sitting there doing nothing. That's what victims do. So let me ask you a question. Are you don't have to answer this, we're not going to do a poll on it, but are you a victim or a creator? A victim or a creator? What do we mean by that? Have you ever heard someone say, my teacher gave me an F? Now, I know none of you have said these things that I'm about to bring up. All right? My teacher gave me an F. Have you heard that? Okay. What about, I don't have my assignment because my printer ran out of ink? Or I missed class all last week because my car was in the shop. I failed a test because the teacher didn't give us a study guide. I didn't turn in my homework because I was absent the day before. All of those sound like excuses to me. I'm a teacher, but all of those sound like excuses, not owning the problem. So if you've heard these, then you have heard victim language. All right, so let's go back a minute. All that is victim language. My teacher gave me an F, not I earned an F. Or I don't have my assignment because my printer ran out of ink, not I have my assignment because my printer ran out of ink, but I went to the library and printed it out instead. It's about being resourceful. So let's talk about victims and creators. Victims, here's the definition: keep doing the same things even when they don't work. You know what? That's also, I've heard many times, the definition of what? Insanity. Insanity, right? So victims keep doing the same things even when they don't work. Listen, we all do this. I'm going to show you some things. We're going to go through some things, and I bet you will find yourself. It was a little ouch. I was reading, I was like, oh, I kind of do that sometimes. But we want to strive toward this, where we're not afraid to change our ideas and actions to create results. If the printer runs out of ink, you go to the library early. You wake up early. You get it done. You're resourceful. That's what creators do. That's what successful people do. They don't whine and complain. Victims see themselves like this little guy. Any chess players in here? Okay, what's that piece? A pawn, that's right. Victims see themselves as pawns, that things just happen to them. A pawn can't move, none of the pieces really can, but the pawn, we think about that person, that piece can't move unless somebody else is doing the moving. And that's how they see their whole lives. Let's talk about a couple of different ways that you can look at things. And then we'll call this the responsibility model. And of course, I'm getting all this. This is from our on-course book. I'm not making this stuff up. But this is a responsibility model. Let's say that you have a stimulus. My printer runs out of ink. My car goes in the shop. Okay, that's your stimulus. That stimulus then is going to lead us to make a choice. And we've got two choices in every situation. We can be a victim or we can be a creator. If you're a victim, then your response is going to be blaming, complaining, excusing, and repeating certain behaviors. So my printer ran out of ink, I'm going to blame it on the printer. It's the printer's fault. Oops, not my fault. But what happens as a result of that response? The result is that it seldom achieves goals. You made an F on an assignment, or whatever the teacher gave you. It wasn't as good as it could have been. But on the other hand, if you choose to be a creator, and it really is, you make the choice every time. And it's hard. This is an easy choice, but it leads to bad places. this is a good choice, but it leads to good places. And that's really all of life. You know, if you've lived any amount of time at all, you know that the hard road is usually the better road. But anyway, as a creator, your response then is to seek solutions, to be resourceful, to take action, to try something new. And the result oftentimes is that goals are achieved. So let's look at some victim language versus creator language. Let's actually look and give some examples of what we're talking about here. First, victims focus on their weaknesses, while creators focus on how to improve. All right, here's an example of a victim focusing on his or her weakness. I'm terrible in whatever, math, English. I can't write an essay. That's focusing on your weakness. But what would a creator do? Well, he or she would say, you know what, I find this course challenging, so I'm going to work extra hard. I'm going to seek out help. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm not just going to lie down and die. I'm going to keep moving. So creators focus on how can I improve in this situation. Victims, secondly, make excuses for everything. My car was in the shop, so I couldn't make it to class. Or the instructor is so boring that he puts me to sleep. Creators, on the other hand, seek solutions. Let's use the old car in the shop one. I hear that one sometimes. What does a creator do when the car's in the shop?
Walk to school.
Walk to school.
Find another car.
Thumb it, right? Hitch a ride. What'd you say?
Find another car.
Finds another car, calls a friend, whatever it takes, because going to class is important. And so, you know, this person is going to, but that person, and I'll tell you what, in a college class too, if you tell a teacher that, or a teacher knows that you fought hard to get there, don't you think that's going to go far? I know, I'm an instructor here. That's going to go far in my thinking about you. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt next time. And that happens in the workplace too. Victims complain, whereas creators turn complaints into requests. Anybody planning on being an educator? Anybody going into the teaching field? Well, it's this way everywhere. But I'll tell you, sometimes the teacher's lounge is the worst place on campus because it's nothing but this right here. And it brings morale down. It's not a good situation. You don't want to hear people talking about how bad it is all the time. You want people to turn those complaints, those inner complaints, into requests. How can I make it better? You know, don't just lay down and die and complain. Think about how can I make it better. So if you, as just an example from class, you know, a complainer might say, this course is a stupid requirement. I don't see why I have to take this. But a creator, on the other hand, would say, you know, I don't understand why I have to take this course, but I'm going to ask my instructor to help me. I'm going to find out some benefits of this course, and it's really just having a positive attitude. Here's a good quote for you. If I can come up. There we go. Y'all know this lady, Maya Angelou. This was some advice given to her by her grandmother. She said to her grandmother said, what you're supposed to do when you don't like a thing is change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. Don't complain. What is it, when you change the way you think about something, what is that called? Anybody? That's your attitude about something. And attitude is everything, as you've heard many times, I'm sure. If you can't change the thing itself, which many times we can't, change the way you think about it. Don't complain. Another victim versus creator language is victims compare themselves unfavorably to others. I've talked about this a little bit. This is something that I fall prey to, and I bet that if you were honest, many of you have done the same thing. You know, John he's so smart, you know, I'll never match up to his skill in whatever it is. But the creator goes to that person and says, you know what, you're really good at this. Can you help me out? They seek help from those that are more skilled. They don't just, you know, get down in the dumps, oh, woe is me, about that they're not as good as somebody else. Self-comparison, comparison with other people is poison. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm a little older than some of y'all in here, and I'll tell you that from experience, that is a bad thing. It's poison. So don't do it, okay? Victims blame, whereas creators accept responsibility. That's the one about, remember I told you that the professor gave me an F. Well, no, he didn't, or she didn't. I earned an F. We need to own it. If you go through life blaming other people and other things for the situations that you're in, then you're going to be a sad person and you're not going to be successful. But if you are a creator and you accept the responsibility for your grades, for the outcomes of your life, then it'll get better. It will change. Blaming. Dr. Nathaniel Brandon said, blaming is a pastime for losers. I love that. There is no leverage in blaming. Power is rooted in self-responsibility. Blaming is a pastime for losers. Don't be a loser. Another, victims see problems as permanent, whereas creators treat problems as temporary. If you've ever said, I'll never be able to understand this, or I'll never get over this problem, whatever it is, then you're seeing your problems as permanent. On the other hand, we should say stuff like, I'll read the directions and figure it out better next time, or I'll do better next time. I will find a solution to this so that this doesn't keep happening. Another is that victims repeat ineffective behaviors, whereas creators do something new. Let's say that you went to the ACE lab one time or two times, and when you came here, you didn't find any tutors to help you. And so you just fell into the ineffective behavior of, well, I'm not going to the ACE lab, they never have any tutors. What should you do?
Keep coming back.
Eventually, it's going to happen. You're going to find the tutor that you need. Maybe they were just having an off day. Maybe that person who would have tutored you was sick. It's not a permanent thing, and we don't need to repeat that ineffective behavior. Do something new. Now, this one sounds a little funny, and so I put quotation marks around this word because when we say, we want people to say, I'll try to do better. But a lot of times when we say that, we're not really trying. It's just words that we say to get somebody off of our back or to make ourselves feel a little better. So victims try. Creators do. They do it. They may fall and fail, but they get back up and they do again. Victims just try, which is code for I'm not going to do anything. And lastly, victims predict defeat and give up. The self-fulfilling prophecy. Whereas creators think positively and look for a better choice. So what is a self-fulfilling prophecy? If I say I'm never going to understand algebra, I'm probably never going to understand algebra. Because I am putting that on myself. I'm creating myself as a person who will never get algebra. That means I'm not going to try, I'm not going to do, I'm not going to move positively toward that goal. But if I'm a creator, I'm going to think positively and look for a better choice. The bottom line is this. When you hear ownership of the problem and a plan for action, you know you're talking to a creator. Ownership and an action plan. Do you do that? Do you take ownership of your grades, or is it somebody else's fault? And do you have a plan for getting that degree? Are you going to do it? Okay. I see some resolute nods out there, and I'm glad to see it. That's great. So let's try some together. Let me give you some opportunity to figure out how to be a creator rather than a victim. All right, here's one. This is a big one. If they do something about parking on campus, I wouldn't be late so often. Hey, have you all ever had to park by the nursing building and walk? Okay. All right, so this is a reality. What do you do then? How do you be a creator instead of being a victim? That's right. Listen, I get here at sometimes 6:40. Well, I got here this morning at 6:45. The parking lot was open. I could take any place I want. So some of y'all are, some people, I'm not saying y'all, but some people say, I'm not doing that. Victim. That's what, I mean, that's victim. I mean, I'm serious. Are you gonna be a victim or are you gonna be a creator? All right, here's another one. Yeah, I mean, if it's important to you, you can walk, that's fine. But just don't complain about it. All right, number 2, I'm failing my online class because the site, Canvas, is impossible to navigate. What do?
You get help.
That's right, there's a little thing up at the top of Canvas that says help. There are like 6 different options. You can chat, you can call, you can email, whatever it is. You can look at the guides. If you don't do those things, it's your fault, right? Number 3, I'm too shy to ask questions in class, even when I'm confused. That's victim language. What are you going to do? Any shy
Shake it
people in
off.
here? What?
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Okay.
You just gonna have to stand up and talk to them.
You know, that's real. I started to put something like that on the screen, but I didn't want to be, man up or woman up. That's really what a lot of this is about. It's about being a grown up. It's not. It's like putting away the childish things and being a grown up.
Or you could wait till after class and talk to them one-on-one.
Great. Exactly. Number 4, that person's a lousy instructor. That's why I failed the first test.
Yeah, that means you maybe studying harder.
Right. You got to figure it out. You may fail the first test, but you better not fail the second test, even with a lousy instructor. What about, I hate group projects because people are lazy and I always end up doing most of the work. What do?
Deal with it.
Do the work,
You
right?
can't make somebody do something
You
they're
can't.
not gonna do.
That's right. And this is the way it is in real life. This is the workplace. You're gonna have group projects in your workplace, and you're gonna have lazy people, and you're just gonna have to do it. If you want the job to get done, sometimes you just gotta do it. Or try to motivate those people to do some work. We'll do a couple more here. The financial aid form is too complicated to fill out.
Gotta find somebody and ask for help.
That's it, yeah. Ask for help. Yep. How about, I work nights, so I didn't have time to do the assignment.
Do it before you go to work.
Yeah. Figure it out. Lori,
Do it. I work every night.
you know about this, so we'll send it to you. We'll make you show the man up, right?
Okay.
That's right. All right, good answers. Y'all did great. Okay. Well, any questions? Does anybody have any thoughts or anything to end our session with? Any words of wisdom? Any ways that you have become a creator rather than a victim? Personal experience. Anybody wants to?
Physics.
Tell us.
I'm actually not that great at math, but I decided to take a new approach and I actually understand it this time, which I do,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I did well on my first test
Okay.
because I look at it in a different perspective.
And what was that perspective?
I'm going to do good in this class.
That's
It's
it.
basic math. It's easy.
Yep. Right.
I'll get it.
You have a positive attitude. That's great. Who else? Anybody else? Lori, what about work? You work every night. What have you had to do to be a grown-up?
Well, of course, I give up my sleep every night to go to work, so, I accept that, and I just keep my eye on the prize and just keep it moving,
That's right.
and no matter what rock is in front of me or what is in front of me, I figure out a way to get it out of my way and continue on.
That's right. That's why you're here today.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Jock, any words of wisdom from an experienced?
I think the best thing that I've heard so far is just, man up, and no matter what rock is in front of you, you got to persevere.
That's right.
Because ultimately it's about you. It sounds bad to say this, it's not about your family. It's certainly not about your friends. This is your life and what you want to accomplish in life.
Good. Good words to end with. That's all. Thank you.